Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me at Let's Talk. And this is Yu Tsai. And today, my guest is none other than James Demolet. And we worked together. He was my boss at one point and former styling director of Cosmo and 17 magazine. And now he's a brand strategist at Steve Madden. So we're going to have a nice little chat with him. Hi.
Hi.
Say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right, we're going to do a little technical thing here. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can hear okay. Just checking with everybody on technical before we begin. Here we go. Thumbs up, guys. Yes, thank you so much. All right, well, welcome to Let's Talk Live. And today, I have James Demolet, and we are going to talk about fashion. We're going to talk about his journey and how did he go from a boy to a man to a fashion strategist. So let's jump right into it, James. So where are you now, James?
I'm at my house in Brooklyn. We're practicing social distancing, so I'm stuck here for a while.
Well, we're all doing that. I hope everybody out there is staying healthy and strong. It's not an easy time, so we hope that the show will bring you some smiles and laughter and hopefully inspire you guys to keep talking about art, and that's why the show was created. I want to invite friends and colleagues who have worked on projects we have done together in a creative field and continue to talk about what we love to do. So James, when we got to work together years ago, our very first shoot, do you remember it?
Yes, yeah. It was with Kate Upton was our first one.
Yes, it was. And how long were you there before we worked together? Do you remember?
I think that was maybe like within the first year of me being there.
It was.
Yeah.
So I had shot for Cosmo before and
Yes.
with different editors and so forth. And I remember the project with Kate Upton came up and it was a collaboration with Bobby Brown, right?
The living legend Bobby Brown was
Yes.
on doing makeup.
Yes, it was awesome having her on set. And I remember we're on this location at the house. And when I met you, I was pleasantly surprised. I was so happy that there was a fashion editor that is down to earth and super collaborative. I remember that you pulled me inside and said, oh my God, I love Kate. I love everything about her. I love her curviness. And to be honest, that's not what people say all the time about curvy models when you're dressing them, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I try to approach every shoot and every project with understanding what are the people all good at. And so it's beforehand having a chat of like, is this okay? And you already had a working relationship with her. So it's like, what's possible? How do we approach this? But yeah, for sure.
And Kate was known already at Cosmo. She had done many covers with them and always been uber sexy. And for that particular shoot, we wanted something more sophisticated. We wanted to show a different side of Kate. So styling was very, very important. And I remember I kept saying to you that, okay, it's easy to go super sexy with her, but can you pull that back?
I mean, it's hard to cover up her greatest assets. But yeah, we tried to find clothes that could kind of blend within the idea of sexiness for her.
Oh, this is a great segment what you just said, that hiding greatest assets. Let's talk about curvy models. You work with a lot of curvy models and at Cosmo, and we love, you and I have the same aesthetic when it comes to girls. We're obsessed with the same kind of models.
Yeah.
It's interesting. People think that if somebody's on the curvy side and bigger side, and I can say bigger, sorry, I'm talking about, sizes. A lot of people think you put more clothes on to hide them. In fact, that's completely opposite, isn't it?
I lean toward the other way. Like especially a girl like Kate or like a Candace Hafeen, or like a Robin Lawley, they do
or Ashley Graham that you dress.
Yeah, exactly. That they do better when you can really see their body and see what they can really do. And yeah, I prefer to show it off. But I think also with that like crop of girls, they are supermodels and they've done every type of photo shoot. So they're able to give you tons of range.
Absolutely. And Kate did. So moving on to other adventures we had together. So James and I worked together on, we lost count how many shoots we have done together. And I think that's a lot to do with our personality. We clicked right away.
We love a Kiki.
But when you first started in fashion, how did you get started? Let's get into that first.
I was an assistant for a long time. I actually assisted Aya Kanai, who was the fashion director of Cosmo for many, many years, and now is editor-in-chief of Marie Claire.
And, oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
I assisted her, and I think like in the beginning, I learned I need to just absorb all of everything that's happening, and so I was definitely more quiet and tried to be the hardest working person in the room. And I realized that there were so many people that were trying to prove how creative they were, and it was a better path for me to be the hardest working person in the room. So that.
How did you transition from working with Aya, which I'm so excited to say that she's going to be with us next week as well to share our journey together. So
amazing. She's really amazing. I think like having her as a mentor was incredible because she didn't take it too seriously, and she also like understood that we're not doing rocket science. But I think it also helped because I could run things by her. So, you know, does this sound okay? Is this an okay rate? So I was an assistant for her, and then I worked as an assistant for Teen Vogue, W, and GQ. And then I went out on my own and then went back to being an assistant because I realized I hadn't learned how to make money or to work with commercial clients. So it was a humbling experience to be like, I know how to style for magazines. I need to learn how to make money. And so I went back to assisting with her. And so we did, you know, more commercial work.
So it's like a photographer, for people who ask questions, how do you become a photographer? How do you become a fashion stylist or fashion director or editor-in-chief in this case at times, is that you do really have to work from ground up. You really have to prove yourself over time. And I think it's such an encouraging thing to hear that you thought you were ready to break away to do something on your own.
Oh, yeah.
But yet you're humble enough to come back and still work as an assistant. And that's really, honestly, really rare in this business because I think people overcompensate in this business that we're in.
Well, I think also I learned what I thought what you bring to a table of like industry people is like talk about who you know, talk about your resume, talk about like that's where your value comes from. And I think that the humbling experience of being broke helped me realize that like I actually have a value that's not related to former clients and photo shoot experiences. And so it was like, if I sit down with a table of strangers, what am I bringing to the table? And it really shifted things for my career, for sure.
And it's interesting, you work with Teen Vogue, you work with all the different publications. How do you adjust from designing or styling for one magazine to another? I think that's something that we should talk about because you saddle between Cosmo and 17, and that's two completely different genre. I'm sure our viewers will love to know how do you differentiate your work in two different genres?
A lot of my work was working with celebrities. And so it's first about what have they worn, doing a lot of research and like, what are the things that they wear? What does it seem like they avoid? What do they like? What are they doing now? I also will like listen to their albums, and generally I decide like I have to like the person before I get there. So, because if you don't like the person,
helpful for all of us, isn't it? It's very helpful.
I mean, you can't walk into it being like, I can't stand this person. So I decided I like them. And then it's about like, what story are we trying to tell? I think like with the Yara Shahidi, for example, she's someone, I have mine too. She is someone who is really familiar with fashion. And so we wanted to make sure we integrated all the cool fashion credits of like Fenty and Public School, but also like, there she is wearing Fenty, but also having it feel approachable. And I felt like the cover, you know, the outfit she ended up on the cover feels like something teens would wear, even though it is.
And then if you were doing a shoot for Cosmo, let's say she's 3 years older, 4 years older, you approach her in a very different way, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, a couple years after this, I did her for Cosmo. And it was totally different, where it was about like showing skin, but she's a smart girl. So it's like, you know, an intelligent version of sexiness. And so, yeah, you approach it, understanding the DNA of the brand and what the audience and the readers really want to see.
Well, as I got to know you over time and become friends, I know that you do a lot of research. You definitely do your homework. Even before our talk, you did your homework on what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, yeah. So I truly appreciate that very much.
Yes, yes, yes.
It shows a great work ethic. And And now, so when you were young, when did you decide that dressing up somebody is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, what's weird is that, like, I get chills in that moment. This sounds gross because I just rewatched Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, but one of the girls who's like one of the mean girls, she goes to the high school reunion and she's like, I'm an editor at Vogue. And I remember in that moment thinking I want to be a magazine editor. And I'm from a
Wow.
super small town. So we're 2 hours from the airport. So
Where are you from originally?
it's Pinehurst, North Carolina. So it's like horses, and it's not
My kind of world.
metropolitan area. Yeah. I mean, it's like we had Walmart and that was it. So I didn't even really know what it was, and I knew I wanted to move to New York, but I think I had this thing inside of me that I wanted to prove I'm going to be somebody, and I really loved fashion, and I think there was that drive in the beginning, and then when you've been doing something for, I don't know, probably like 10 years or so, then you kind of hit this stride of this is the thing that I'm really good at. But I think initially the drive was I have something to prove.
Was your parents supportive? What was the journey like?
It's weird. I think like growing up in a small town, there was like only one other gay in the village. So that was tough.
So you can't really form a village, like you can't have the 5 village people in a
no,
parade.
no.
It's only 2 of you.
There's no kiki when it's just like me and some other guy. But I think it was, they supported it because I was also decided, and it was like, I'm moving to New York and this is what I'm going to do. And I was super committed to it. And I didn't even end up graduating. I got an associate degree in college, but I was already starting to work at magazines. So I called my parents and said, like, I think I'm done with school. I went to FIT, but I was like, I think I'm done. And I'm working in the industry and I'm getting better experience this way. So they were.
And you know what? The reason I asked that question, because a lot of people who are popping North Carolina or somewhere that's not in the metropolitan New York and Los Angeles or Paris are wondering how they can, quote unquote, get out of where they are and break some grounds in the different field like fashion. And this is, I know with Sex and the City, with all these different things that we see on TV, fashion has become a vocabulary for everyone. That even in North Carolina, people have aspirations to do that. But having parents that is super supportive is so important. I know that for me, I was a biologist. I was pre-med. I wanted to be a veterinarian. Yeah. I worked for National Geographic. I wanted to be with the animals. And when I finished that journey, it was crazy. When I finished that journey, I remember telling my parents that I didn't really have my parents decide what I wanted to do. I didn't want to become a veterinarian or doctor because I was Asian. It was just something I loved. But when I decided I wanted to go to art center, they were really freaked out. They're like, wait, you just finished school, you just had scholarship, you can go and get your PhD, you can become a doctor, why are you doing this? And funny enough, that week, there was an article in the newspaper featuring 4 tourist car designed by somebody who was from Taiwan, and it went to art center. And all of a sudden my parents like, oh, you should go there.
Like,
now they understood. Isn't that funny?
What's weird is when I was growing up, there was a show called What Not to Wear, and I think it.
I know it. I know
but it was the first time that I think I understood what a stylist was, seeing Stacey London on the show and seeing that that's a real career. I really think that and also like America's Next Top Model, which you are an alum of in multiple countries, I think that informed, and now the television opportunities are totally different. So when people are watching, you can see what a producer looks like and the other career opportunities. But I think that helped, that then they
and of course Top Model was definitely something that introduced fashion to the masses. It's a reality show, and it's a expansion of what reality is, of what fashion world is. But a lot of the drama that happens behind the scene, a lot of the craziness and the urgency, those are really real. It happens on set all the times. There are times James is running around, you're running around like a hamster in a wheel, going in circles between back to the rack, getting a new pair, pants, and put it back on, come back. And that's something that I don't think people understand. One thing I think is so important for people to know, that a stylist is truly a creative director on set. The responsibility that you guys have It's not just, this is the outfit we're going to put on her and how we're going to pen it to make pretty. I know that discussion happens all the time on set. I'll come to you and say, this is the first look. If this is the cover look, what color nail we're going to have? What's the shoe she's going to wear? And you will ask me, what lighting are you going to do? So it's a complete collaboration to make that singular image happen. And it happens maybe 10 times throughout the day if we're doing a 10-page story.
Well, and I think the thing that people sometimes don't realize is that like the photographer generally meets the talent when they get there, and then they're done and they come to set. Whereas we meet the talent and we say, it's nice to meet you. Please now take off all of your clothes. And as a stranger, I'm going to dress you like it's a foreign experience. And so I found that I had to do research of understand even how does this person communicate? And like, how does it seem when they're happy and when they're not? So I can read the room, because instantly it really is, it's nice to meet you, take off your clothes.
I love that term, read the room. And a lot of people ask me the same question, like how do you know how you're supposed to behave on set? Well, back in the days, you don't get to pick up your phone and text your friends. But now everybody's on Instagram, so we can't stop that anymore. Right. But I remember when I first started, I had a bucket and my assistants are to take their phones and put it all away because it was just so distracting. And now you're like, are you taking behind the scenes? Did you get that shot? Did you get, everybody's on their phone. They're all
yeah.
So the industry has evolved and changed even since we worked together. You know, since then we've done, I'm just gonna pop a couple of the stories that we have done together so people can see. This is one of the lovely shoots we done.
Oh yeah. That was one of Sophia Richie's first editorial she ever did.
Ever. You guys may heard the name, and it was awesome. And this particular shoot, what I love is that I remember you guys were telling me it's going to be a studio shoot because she has never done a lot of photos and I really want to control environment, but can you make sure that she still brings her energy out? And we were shooting at Milk Studio, and the day was so beautiful. And I remember coming up, she goes, do you have outfit that can live outside the studio so we can actually do a story that's combined? And I love combined stories, right? Yeah. So we took her outside, and I remember you looked at me and goes, I'll make the clothes work. Let me find what will work outside. And that's what these collaborations are like on set, you guys. When we're working, yes, we can come to the table with a storyboard, with a vision board, and we all have them. We tape them on the wall like, this is what we're gonna do today. But they're never the Bible for the day. They're just a guidance and they're just inspirations.
Yeah, I mean, some of my biggest mistakes were not being prepared for everything. And so making sure that I have, like, even if we're doing a story about dresses for Cosmo, I would always want to have tank tops and cut off shorts. And like, there were certain things that I want to make sure I have, because if all else fails, I know that those things work.
And the dresses, we did collaborate on this as well. It was one of the most selling issue. I remember. Yeah. And Sabrina, we shot this on my rooftop of my studio. Yeah. So this was actually a natural light outside studio built on a rooftop because we wanted the hot sun on her, and it was a prom dress story. And I remember when you called me and said, so I have this story for you. I know you love shooting fashion, but we're doing prom dresses. Are you cool with that? And I remember that moment. I go, well, if you're gonna style it, I will shoot it. And because you somehow was able to make those quote unquote prom dresses stereotype into something super fashionable for 17.
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal. Even in moments when it's like under 50, or whatever the objective is, it's who are the artists that I can create things with, and it can still be inspiring and beautiful, and at least something I'm ready to post on Instagram. Well,
we need to talk about her.
Of course.
And Yara actually texted me last night. She said she's gonna be listening in, so you better watch what you say.
Well, what's funny is there's nothing negative I can say about her. And I was going to ask you this, that she's one of those people that, like, I've worked with twice, and she's incredible. She gives you the perfect shots, and like, is one of those people that if I could shoot one person for the rest of my life, it would be her. Because she's really like one of those personalities that gives you what you want. She listens to the team and also knows like what she's capable of.
Well, she's hyper intelligent for her age. Her vocabulary level is better than a PhD student. Oh, and yeah. She can talk about politics to cooking, and you have to, interesting enough, I don't know if you remember, I did not know this, but I worked with her mom. Back in the days, I worked with her mom and her when she was a baby. They were doing Tropicana TV commercial, and back in the days when I was
No.
doing TV commercials. Yes, that I saw her. Mom was like, wait a minute, don't we know each other? And it took
From
a whole
Tropicana.
entire day of shooting. We realized, oh my God, we were on the same set. I mean, let's
That's
not
great.
say how many years ago, Mom. But we were, when Yara was a baby, it was quite interesting to reconnect with her in that way. And you're right about her. What about her that's so unique is that even though she's so intelligent and she listens, she doesn't overpower what she thinks on you. She doesn't push her ideas on you. She brings the best of her asset to your clothing. I mean, look at this. Let's talk about this outfit for a second.
This was Coach head to toe. But the thing that we haven't touched on with this shoot was that Cesar Ramirez did the hair. And with every single look, he redid the hair, which normally there isn't time to like do a cornrow. And one of the images that didn't run was the one where he did cornrows of her entire hair. In addition to the larger shapes and the ponytail, it was unbelievable. But yeah, she's incredible. But also is one of those people that is smart, but also like conveys a sense of joy in the images. And that was the goal, is to make sure like she looks fashionable and cool, but also like joyful and youthful.
But that's funny you said that, but there are artists that we work out there that do not exude that energy. I'm sure you have stories that when you're on set and you're working away, you're putting the best look you think possible for this talent, and you just know she hates it. What do you do?
I have been on set before. Yes, I've had that experience where I'm on set and I think they hate it. And it is like it is challenging, but I think like the team that you've assembled, they all band together and really support you. And I think like the stylist, as a stylist, I end up spending more time with these people. So I'm back dressing them and then I'm on set with them. So the whole day we're together. And I do feel this pressure to like bring their mood up and to like maintain the vibe of the room. And sometimes I beat myself up because I'm like, maybe I didn't prepare for this properly. Like maybe there's other options I could bring. And then also it's like, sometimes it's just not a pleasant day.
But do you, for example, we had to shoot Coach head to toe, and you guys, some of these magazines that you see when you open, there are requirements that we are required to put a same outfit from the same brand from the head to toe, meaning anywhere from a hat all the way to the shoes. So in this particular shot, what if Yara said to you, I like everything, but I hate these shoes, I'm not wearing it. What do you do?
I'm flexible. Listen, if you like everything except the shoes, pick out your own shoes. And I have had shoots like this. And if you work with celebrities, stylists have had this experience where you're like, pick out whatever you want to wear, just get to set. Like, because there are some moments when it's maybe like a power struggle, or I want to be in charge, or something like this, or I'm maybe not properly prepared. And it's like, please put on clothes. There's 11 racks of clothes to choose from. There must be something. I need you to go on set at some point. But I think like, I generally beat myself up because I'm mad that I didn't do the research properly. And any moments I've had, I've realized it's because I didn't do enough market work to get the right clothes. Because some people want to hear Balenciaga or Vuitton, or these are the labels I have, or they want to know like, this is about your waist and this is going to show your legs, and they want to know that you're concerned with their body. Yara is someone who is very informed with designers, and she's like a fashion editor herself. So she wants it to look cool, but she also knows designers. So she wants these moments. With this shoot, this is the first time it ever happened to me though, where she brought her stylist, and so he and I did a call before.
Oh, that's right. This happens when a talent that is so branded in the look and feel that they feel that they don't want to departure too much from it. And this happened on a couple of my shoots before. And it could be disastrous or it could be great. In this particular instance,
It was incredible. Like I went into it I was nervous and I didn't find out until the day before, so I couldn't really prepare. And Jason Bolden's her stylist, and he was incredible and really was like, what looks do you want? What's your favorites? Like, I'll talk through them with her. And then the next shoot that I had with her, he didn't come to set, but we did a call before. But I think those moments of like not being competitive with the team member and just being like, how do we be there for each other and how do we support each other is amazing.
Oh, well, let's talk about that, because in this industry, it's not always that way. We're going to call it as it is. In this industry, it's super competitive, and there's a lot of cattiness that can happen. I remember when I first started shooting for Harper's Bazaar International Edition, and my stylist would call me and said, I can't pull Burberry. I go, why? We need to have Burberry for the cover, because another edition's editor-in-chief had blocked it because they want it. They won't let you have it. Right. And this happens all the time. And yes, the Condé Nast holds on to their trunk. They won't let anybody have it for 2 months, and somebody else does this. But as a photographer who was given a task to shoot that cover, it is incredibly stressful that we can't get the clothes. It happens more often than you think.
Yeah, I think that there's enough clothes in the marketplace that there are moments when what is available for, say, a Yara Shahidi versus Sabrina Carpenter versus
of
everybody.
Course, but what I mean, it's more about the personality that we garner in this business, right? We grow the competitive in this business. We grow who's styling who, and can I get in there? How do I get in there if I want to style for this magazine cover? No difference in photographers. How do I get in a relationship with you? I know people text me, you work with James all the time. If you're not available, will you please recommend me to James? This happens all the time. And in order for you to be the person that wanting to recommend somebody else or step aside, you have to build incredible confidence in your own work and who you are and what you're worth to the magazine. I know I worked with 17 Cosmo under her brand for over 15 years. And I jump from brand to brand and editor to editors. And what I know holds true is that if you bring yourself the quality of work and your integrity, it doesn't matter which title and who's styling, you will continue to book jobs. And that happens, I think, with you, that you completely are not the stylist mold. You're kind, you're nice, you're sweet. I've never seen you pull on somebody's clothes in a hard way that hurts someone. You're kind. And I'm not saying a lot of stylists are not kind, but I've been on set with stylists that are not kind.
I mean, it's funny because now I'm on the other end where I'm working with other stylists, but I think that I have this thing where I try to absorb the talent stress and or this whatever is happening on set, and I feel this intense pressure to make sure it's like filled with joy and everyone is happy and they're excited about what they're doing.
And you're fun. You are
fun.
I
try. Yeah, but there's a lot of worry lines there.
You know, when I met you the first time, when I saw the tattoos, and I was like, oh, he's going to be intimidating. But you were completely opposite of all that. You were so incredibly joyful from day one. And I remember you, like, after we shot with Kate, you're like, we're going to do more together. I want to shoot her again. I want to do other stuff you're doing. And that's something that I would love to foster more in our industry, that people just give each other a little bit of tap on the back and say, amazing job today, thank you. And that's one thing that I insist on my set from day one. Doesn't matter how crazy I am, and God knows you can tell story how crazy I am. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a little crazy when it comes to passionate work I do. But at the end of the day, I always make an effort, and perhaps it's the Asianness in me. I go up to everyone and I thank them, all the way from the editor to the PAs. Because without those people, you don't have work. And the last thing you say to someone on set is really the last thing they're going to remember you said. So
I mean, I also have a theory that people, I can look at images and evaluate whether I think the shoot was successful based on the way the images work. And I actually think that most people evaluate the success of the shoot based on how they felt that day.
Absolutely. Especially in the digital world, right? We know that, okay, so I wasn't perfect with my shoulder. You can help me maybe adjust a little. We can reshape this, reshape that. And we can have a whole discussion about retouching on a separate day. But Yara, for me, with her, was so different. I remember the shoot so well, and I wanted to have this conversation with you because this was one shoot in a history of 15 years when you sent these images, raw images, no retouching, to the team. And I remember you ran up to me, and I have chills talking about this. And I remember this day because we shot in my own studio in Los Angeles, and it was the first time you were in my studio, so I'm super proud to show you my studio. We shot it, and then emails start coming in, text messages start coming in. You ran up to me, goes, "Yu Tsai, this does not ever happen, but look at this." And you show me the phone. It was just love, love, love.
What's funny is right before the call, I was trying to find the photo of the three of us together to post. And I searched Yara and I found like a photograph of the email chain because I took a photo of it because I had never received so many compliments. So that was nice. But it's also a lot of pressure when you're on set and you think like, okay, I think this went really well, and then you send it to the team and sometimes they're like, I don't know, not my favorite.
And Fabienne was on set. The beauty director Fabienne was on set because the shoot was so much about beauty as well. So my day was super stressful. If I didn't show you, it was super stressful because it really is a dance, right? I have to come to you, make sure you're happy with what I'm doing. I gotta go to Yara and Yara's mom, make sure she knows I'm respecting Yara, how I approach her, how I shoot. Because God knows people think I'm the same person on American Next Top Model all the time when they meet me. First thing they say to me is, "You're not that mean." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's a TV show, guys." It's a TV show. But then I have Fabienne, editor, beauty editor, saying they're going, "Listen, you gotta get this color and make sure you shoot an angle so I can see that cat eye." It was so many things going at the same time. And when we finished shooting it and you send those images off before you even left the set, that was the moment I remember the most, that you had a biggest smile on your face and you were so proud of the work that we got to do together. So I thank you for that day. I will never forget that day.
No, I loved it. I think it is you, regardless of like the work you're doing, you're hoping that you're proud of it. I think when you, like, for myself being on staff at the magazine and for you being a contributor at the magazine, you really want to make sure that people still have faith in you to do good work.
Yes.
And so
for me, every job could be my last job with you guys, right? That's true.
Right.
If you have one hiccup, you have one bad day as a photographer, that magazine will not work with you again. I have stories about that, you know, but it happens. It happens. And if James would have totally did a horrible job and Yara hates her, you won't be working with her ever again. You even if you are an editor at Cosmo, they're gonna replace you for that day.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was funny because when she did when she finally did her Cosmo cover, they said James is doing it, and she's like, "Oh, okay, great, approved," because of her experience, you know, on that day. I think that like if you can get your ego out of the way and understand that like the goal is to continue doing work, and so to be really focused on like, I want to make sure today is incredible, you have to make sure that like you have built relationships and that people really enjoy working with you.
Well, you're that guy for sure. Absolutely. I'm always walking on eggshells afterwards. I'm always like, was I too crazy? I ask my team, I go, should I have said that? And they're like, oh, I don't know, I hope they didn't hear you said that. You know? And the industry has evolved and changed the last 15 years so much. I can tell you guys that back in the day, 15 years ago, that photographer was the god of the set. They can block everything out. The stylists cannot even look at the talent when they're shooting. I mean, it's crazy how we have evolved into a singular, solitary kind of work to a very collaborative and a community kind of work that we get to do. And there are photographers out there that still has closed sets, meaning that nobody can be there except for him and the talent. I happen to be the one that I need a lot of energy from everyone. You know me. I'm always like, James, are you happy? Is this good? Are you happy? Is everybody good where we at? Oh, did we get it? It's not, I'm asking those questions on set, not because I'm not confident. I want to make sure everybody is contributing and their eyes is on the prize for that one singular shot. And it makes me so happy when I shoot just few frames and you literally look at me and goes, you got it, Yu Tsai, we can move on. Right. You know, those are the jam moments.
But have you ever had those moments where you're shooting and you're like, they don't like it?
Oh, all the time. But you know what? I convince them to like it. Here's what I'll tell you a secret what I do. A lot of people say to me on set, you know, they're like, you always have the best shot in the first 2 frames. First reframes. You always do. And that's because I actually don't shoot until I know I'm going to have that perfect shot. And everything else follows is just superfluous and filling the gap and just for any great accident that may happen. 99% of the time, my shot for everything I do happens on the first 10 frames. Now, if creative changes, of course, and there'll be a later different close changes, it won't be the first few frames. But because I read the room, that's my thing. And you know me about that. I look at everyone, I read the room, and I see what I need to do. And this is something that I think all photographers need to know. Even if your first setup is the setup that's not working, you got to convince everybody in the room it's working, because that sets the tone for the rest of the day. Because you can always come back and say, let's do that first shot again. I think we can do better. And I done that with you. Remember, I was like, let's move on. We're good. We got this, you guys. Everything looks great. Go change. And then I'll come up to you and goes, that was not good. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to ask you to do one more, but something else. But we're going to can that. But that's kind of we're creative people.
Keeping it going, I think, like that moment of belaboring the shot, like
it drains everyone. It just it's so counterproductive in what we do.
Well, I would always, I mean, I've never had it with you, but I've had it before with other photographers where I'll say to the other people, we're losing the talent. And like, the longer that we're like forcing them to make this work, the less shots we're going to get later in the day. So if we can keep this moving, and it's like, if we don't get that Versace credit, that's fine. We have to keep moving to make sure like the talent stays with you. And
that is such a great advice, and that is so ever important for everyone. Even if you're a hairstylist, you're a makeup artist, you cannot tire out your talent. You cannot pull their hair so much they annoy with you. You cannot keep coming back and put that lipstick on over and over. It's over because one is lack of confidence, and two, you're driving people crazy. You know, it happens, and we never had that experience, but we have so many wonderful experiences, and I want to talk about this one. And this was a fun experience.
Oh my God, I forgot you shot that. That was incredible.
So let me set this up. So I usually shoot women for Cosmo and 17. I do men photography, but it's not something I do often. I did Esquire for a long time, so you guys know I know how to shoot men really well. And just not in my portfolio, like I don't just go shoot men because I'm bored. I usually shoot beautiful, empowered women images. And I got a call from Stephen Brown, like, hey, Yu Tsai, so who are your top favorite 5 models right now? It was just like, conversational. And I kind of gave him the names of the people I like. He's like, this name looks good. I think we do a shoot with them. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, we're filming a TV show and we want to shoot the shoot. And
that's right, it was on the show.
And it's so Cosmo show. And they're like, will you be part of it? And I go, yeah, of course. I'll show up and shoot this. And I said, who's styling? Well, James is styling. I go, oh, cool. We'll have a little fun.
Styling.
And that's the point I want to address, is that even with how much underwear you show in this pair of jeans, how low you pull down that pair of jeans, and the wrinkles in that pair of jeans are part of your responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, that was styling. I mean, Matthew is unbelievable. He's like
Greek goddess.
He's unbelievable, and is also so like sweet and charming and lovely. But I think like I also know that a stylist can ruin the shoot. And so like in this moment, if I was trying to like, let me show you how I can be creative, it's like, no, the point of this photo is a shirtless guy holding like an oversized perfume bottle. And that's the point of it. So it's not a moment to be like, look how creative I am. It was. Well,
I do remember that one of the conversation we had was, how far down can you pull the underwear that still falls in the guideline of Cosmo?
But it wasn't between us. It was everyone else on set saying like, maybe lower, higher. And all day I'm just adjusting. I mean, at one point, one of the male models said to me like, it's fine. Because I'm like, can you do it lower? Can you do it higher? Because it's awkward to adjust someone else's underwear. But in the end,
it all worked out. And this concept was beautiful. It was top 5 male sexy models holding gigantic perfume bottles. I mean, who wouldn't love those moments, right? And the reason I want to touch on that's considered styling, is that sometimes when a stylist show up, their job really is just to give you that nice little moment that complete the picture. For example, in this particular shot, I don't remember the full entire outfit, but I do know that this is all we need to show the texture, the movement in this image.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I firmly believe that stylists can really ruin a photo. And it was always my fear, like, I don't want to be that person that ruins the photo. Because, I don't know, to me, this is one of those moments that it was about skin, it was about youth, and to
And
like.
the makeup artist, Bo, did a beautiful job. Give him a shout out here. Beautiful
Incredible.
job.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible day. And I love this one just because I love that necklace was a statement that you put on there, and that's what it's about. But I want to talk more about you. In this industry, don't you find that in this industry that it could be incredibly intimidating at times, though? When you show up, not every day you're going to run into somebody like Yara that just embraces you. How do you go about breaking that wall?
Sometimes through compliments. And that's why I like do the research before. Like, I don't know.
I love your movie.
Well, like I worked with Justin Bieber right before the music shifted to like I need you, I need you, I need you the most. So I didn't really like the music, and I was so thankful that like that first song came out, because I was able to be like, okay, I get it, I love them, like I'm down. But I think like really understanding who they are is essential. And some celebrities don't want you to have assumed friendliness with them. So I found that I had to approach them in a way that was more clinical. And I was happy when I would know that information. And then you kind of like build trust throughout the day. But I think, yeah, I mean, every celebrity is different, just like every person is different. And every celebrity has like eccentricities, just like the rest of us. So it's about like, I try to do research of like what looks best on them, and also like what sort of makes them unique. But I'm sure it's the same with you, that it's like before you get on set, you want to know like, have I seen every good photo and every bad photo of them?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of a tip what I do first on set. I don't say hi to the talent first. I say hi to the publicist first.
Of course.
Always.
But and then, I mean, yeah, because like they're on their side for sure.
Right? That's my key. People are like, how do you do this? I say hi to the publicist first. And I don't begin till the publicist get there unless she gives me okay to do so, because that's her job to guide and the gear, like guide and shape the day of the shoot with her talent. That's her job. And I always check with the publicist, how is she feeling today? What can I get her to drink? I will always bring the first drink to my client. I will make the tea. Well, maybe I won't make the tea. I'll get my assistant to make the tea, but I'll bring the tea myself. And that's always been a habit I created for people. And even when I was working as an assistant to other directors, or when I'm working as a graphic designer to creative directors, a cup of water, a glass of tea goes a long way to start a conversation. I think that is just how I do it. I was like, you want green tea? Or you like Starbucks? These days I go, will you like Postmates? You know, so
yeah.
And it really does make people remember that you care about them as human beings to begin with. I hope everything's okay today. When you're hungry, if there's nothing at the craft services that you like, I'm happy to order Postmates for you. Just be human, people. Like, well, truly, be human.
I think one of the things that you do well is you approach the day with your guard down. And always. So it then makes people feel ridiculous if their guard is up. Because it's like, if everyone else is being friendly, you don't have to be the bitch.
I guess the word is intimidation, right? It's right. Like training a dog. You cannot train a pit bull if you're afraid of a pit bull, right? And we have a lot of pit bull in our industry. And I can tell you, every single person who has the diva title and the pit bull title, I get along with them the most. I love them.
Well, because they're fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, the stories we have, yeah. They're the best to me because they know what they want, and and you're there to help them get it. And if you can achieve and reach the same level together, hallelujah. That's what we're here for. And not just about one of the things I want to touch on is that what you do is not just with the talent. You have to balance out hairstylist's mood a day and right. Makeup artists. And we know there are hairstylists and there are makeup artists that they're always team players. How do you go about managing them in the glam room?
I have like a couple theories on this. One is I struggle with working with younger artists, people
Mm.
who are sort of newer. I find that they sometimes feel like they're competing in a creativity contest. Whereas people who like, and I kind of joke, anyone over the age of like 40, I'll be like, well, you're a legend, so I'll work with you. But I think that there's an approach that they have that sometimes younger artists don't have, where they feel like there's a lot of pressure on this one
Mm.
moment. I got to
Mm.
show you how creative I am.
Mm.
And actually, the moment is I'm listening to what you want, and I want to make sure, you know, we deliver what the magazine wants or what the brand wants. I think that like it is it's also helpful to work with people that you have a relationship with and be like, girl, you need to check your attitude, because
Right.
there's only room for one diva here, and we have a celebrity on set, so that's her, so it's not going to be you. I need you to cool it. And they kind of like, sometimes I think people are stressed, and maybe their moment with the subject didn't go as well, and so maybe they didn't like the nail color, or they didn't like the brow shape, and then they're kind of like pulled off track.
And they take it very personal, right? It becomes very personal, as if the attack is on them. Hairstylists doesn't let the makeup artists work. They feel like it's ruining their work for the day. They become pouty. Listen, we're all very emotional people. We're artists. We have moments. And I don't know I ever done on your shoots, but there are definitely moments that I have to say, I'm taking 5. You guys figure it out. I'm going to take 5. And that's okay to do.
Yeah.
It's not okay to throw the camera and tell people to get off your set. And that's not who I am. I just go, I'm going to go do some stretching yoga on the side. When you guys figure it out, I'll be right back.
Do what you know, because sometimes the critique is actually personal.
Yes.
And they'll say something like, how come you're doing that? That's never something I would do. That is a personal attack. But it's your responsibility to get over it.
Right.
And that, like, if you fixate on that moment, it's over. So
well, I want to talk about where you are now. It's important to speak of all the journey, all the talk, all the beautiful stuff we have created together. You are now the creative content manager, give me the proper title here.
The title is long. It's like the director of brand image and content strategy for Steve Madden. And so I work on their 2 brands, Superga and Betsey Johnson. So it's overseeing everything from social media to e-commerce to the copy, the Pinterest, the whole brand messaging.
The question is, do you know how to make money now?
You know what? I think I have learned what a company looks like that makes money. And I think like we're in a very bizarre moment right now where all of our retail shops are closed, and all of our the you know, things are it's a crisis. It's a genuine crisis. And I have seen that people want moments of escapism, and they want levity, and they want joy. And I do too. Like I sent over a mood board, and it had all these photos of like cute kittens on it, just to like remind people. And they're like, you're really into kittens, but I think like we want joy right now. And so it's about how do we cultivate a brand message and like a strategy that is infused with joy. And
well, what a perfect pairing too. I mean, Betsey Johnson, and if I was to think a brand for you, absolutely. What a great pairing. What a fantastic pairing.
We both are kooky girls.
I know. You guys are the same. And I think, you know, in our business, and especially for editors, photographer, we stay true to our lane a lot of time. We stay as photographers, and yes, we're directors, photographer, we're kind of bouncing back and forth. Me, I do so many different crazy things, and I have so many different things going on. That's who I am. But most photographers stay in that lane. But that's how we make our money. That's how we make a living. However, stylists who's on set doing editorial, you guys are not making money. You guys are doing it out of passion and love, because publication just don't give you those accessibility to do commercial work, you know?
Right. I mean, I think that magazines, and now sort of this other arena of Instagram and social media, it can be a career path to work for a brand. If you are someone who's successful at creating imagery and telling stories, it can translate to a brand. And when I was still at Cosmo and 17, I had moments of maybe working with an influencer and creating content for them. And it was...
Well, I remember I tried. I said, are you available if I try to get you on other shoots? You're like, sure. But when I call, you're like, I can't. I'm so busy doing this. And it's really hard to balance up both of them. Are you happy now? I miss you at Hertz, by the way. I
know.
Miss you. I miss you.
I miss you. I miss you too. I am really happy. I think that I knew there were far more creative stylists in the industry, and it was I wanted to work at magazines to move to something else, and I always wanted to work for a brand. And to me, I mean, as you're doing here, you're investigating like what is social media and how do we use this as a communication tool.
Well, it's
and
interesting what you just said, because you say we need happiness, and I can tell you the first week of quarantine, I started early because I listened to the Asia news. My entire family, we listened to we have Asia television. We knew this was coming, and we knew to start prepping. We knew that this is something that's going to change the spectrum of what we do. I went into hibernation for 1 week. I gave myself 1 week. When that week was over, I had to create something that I love, that I get to still do. And I'm lucky and fortunate enough that I'm used to talking to a camera. I'm used to speaking into my own eye line and knowing that there are audience out there. But most importantly, I wanted to inspire our artists and everybody to just talk about what you do on a daily basis. And look, I'm smiling because now I think of all the stupid things we've done on set together. You know, I think about, oh my God, that shoot could have been this and that. Well, when are we going to do it again? And not wondering when my paycheck's going to be next on shooting, rather than how can I get to that happiness through this journey, right? And that's why I wanted you on here so badly, because I wanted other people to know that your relationship, my relationship working together has been so joyful, and it was a great journey together. And I can't wait to continue that journey after all this is over.
I agree. Once we can start doing photo shoots, you've got to get back. But I love your talk show.
Thank you so much.
I'm honored to be included.
Well, I got some Q&A here for the last about 8 minutes about time. So somebody asked earlier that, do you still feel like a country boy in a big city when you show up at work sometimes?
I don't feel like I have anything to prove. And I think that like that is helpful. And I used to be really embarrassed of where I was from, and I was embarrassed that I like didn't have this sort of pedigree that some people in fashion have. And now I know what I bring to the table is valuable. And if you don't like that, then we're not meant to work together. And that's okay. And there's enough jobs and there's enough people to choose from. So I don't know if I feel like a country boy, but I don't feel like I have this sort of thoroughbred fashion quality. I'm sort of in between a workhorse and show pony.
I like show pony. Show pony is good.
Yeah, somewhere in between those areas.
Do you still have, and you know, it's funny, I have to let the viewers know that James and I had a talk before we came on live, and you had mentioned that, you know, anxiety is something that you often have to deal with, and in situations of public speaking or will have to explain what you're doing. First of all, you didn't show any of that today.
Oh,
you were so eloquent in the way you spoke of what you do. But do you still find that to be in your work life, in your daily life?
I mean, growing up, like hiding the fact that I was gay for many, many years, I always felt social anxiety, and I always felt nervous. Like, am I going to be exposed? What are they going to do? I never felt safe. And so for sure, I still feel that. And I really have to, I think, choose a new thought. And I know how it feels to be comfortable, and I know how it looks. So sometimes I kind of fake it until my body doesn't know the difference.
I love that. It's like we say, if you're mad, put a smile on your face, your endorphin would change and you begin smiling again.
Yeah, your body doesn't know the difference.
Well, I love to get a couple of tips from you before we sign off. What are the tips that you would give our audience? What book do you think they should read to get into fashion or understanding what fashion business is?
Okay, my favorite is DVF's book, The Woman I Wanted to Be. I think that's what it's called.
Yes.
And it's an audio book, and her voice is butter. But it's really incredible to see, like, she's an icon, and she has that pedigree and the whole thing.
Did you get to work with her?
No, but I've met her a couple times.
So I have a story to tell you that I work with her. I'll do it fast so we don't run out of time. I don't know if I've told you this. I shot her at her mansion, at her house. I came in, she told me I have to shoot her exactly 2 o'clock because she has a meeting at 2:15. I have 15 minutes to shoot her. It's like shooting like Sarah Jessica Parker, which we have another story about that in the later day.
No,
We'll share that story. But this one's really good. I showed up, set up. She showed up 5 minutes earlier. She came on and she sat down and looked at me and goes, "You're not ready?" I said, "You told me to, and I'll be ready at 2, I promise you." She wasn't going to make friends with me. She was not going to be nice to me. She was very busy. And she looked at the light, and she goes like this to me. I'm not kidding. She goes, "Yu Tsai, right here." And she hits her head so hard, it left a red mark. Goes, "Right here. I want the light right here. You got it? I'll be back." She walked away and came back and sat down, and she aimed for that light exactly what she wanted. She goes, "Now shoot me." She gave me the DVF pose. And she gave me all of it. In 2 minutes, and she goes, "I need to see the monitor. You're going to get..." This is what I live with in my head all the time when her name comes up. She went to the monitor. She looked at it. She clicked through. She goes, "It's good." And I was like, "Oh."
Which is
and
major.
then she took a nice breath and she says, "But it's not great, but it will do." And then she walked away from me.
I mean, that means you got it. That means it'll do.
It was good, but not great, but I'm out of here. That will do. Can I tell you? That would be my quote for my book, what DVF said to me when I'm photographing her. It's kind of what we live with. It's good enough. It's not great, but it will do.
It's good enough. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I mean, she's incredible. And the book is
right here.
The thing with her is that she is magic and she is charisma, but she also is a moneymaker. And
you know what it is? She's taste. From the day, black and white picture, look at her when back in the days when she used to go to all the social events. And she embodied that brand from day one, who she was, and carried all the way through her clothing to every thread, even to her penthouse. Oh my God. I mean, you walk into her studio. I've been there. I've been to her house. You're just like, okay, you're a brand. You're incredible.
But in the book, she talks about like taking the line on QVC because no one was buying it. And then it's like, maybe I'll stop the line and I'll just do poetry. And it's this idea of like, you have to pivot and be listening to the market and be ready to move to something else. Like in this moment that we're stuck in our houses, you are a person who takes photos and you're like, I have this other skill. Now I'm going to be hosting a talk show. That like, it's a really incredible book that identifies like, you got to shift and listen and know what to do.
Amazing. So for young ones out there who are under 40, who are trying to break into the industry, whether it's on a fashion side or working with talent side, what's your best advice for them?
It's not a creativity contest. It's a building trust. That the goal is to build trust with people. And that is the only way that you will be booked again. No, rarely is it what a terrible personality, but how incredible was the makeup or how incredible were the photos. There's too many options. So it's...
And we know in fashion, and there you are again.
It's perfect. I was able to refill my wine. So that worked
sorry
out.
Guys, so everyone, we're back with James, and I didn't want to leave it with that kind of goodbye. That's not how we end our show here. So you were saying that we all trying to find happiness in this crazy time we're in, and whether that a stylist or makeup or hair, you find different ways to express yourself. I think is so important. Now, how do you continue your work now?
I feel a real obligation with the brands that we're a public company and we have to sell clothes and we have to sell shoes. But I also feel an obligation that we have to spread joy. Like this is the moment when we should be experimenting with things and also spreading joy. And I feel like that is, as artists, that is our job right now.
Well, a couple other questions. Do you miss being on set with celebrities?
You know what? I do. I really do. I didn't think I would miss it. I thought it would be like a short period of my career and then I would move on. But I really miss it. I think like I did a shoot with Pink and it was
Oh,
weird because who's incredible, incredible. And that's somebody that I listen to in my car. And
mm,
like there are these moments when you're working with someone that you have a relationship with prior to ever having met them. And yeah, I miss that. So
well, I don't think, I think you will be again. Don't you?
yeah, maybe in a different way, for sure. Yeah, I prefer the box of working with celebrities.
Well, I could not be more happier and proud of your journey and proud to be part of your journey. 15 years in the business, when I first started shooting, Cosmo 17 was on my bucket list, and you helped me check that off so early, and not just one shoot, multiple shoots and multiple covers. And like James said earlier, all this stuff, most important thing is trust among each other and artists. And I encourage all of us out there to help each other, pat each other on the back, and encourage each other, and perhaps hold back some of the things that you don't like to yourself. And that would actually
Yes.
help a lot.
Yeah, and there's enough people to choose from. Pick the people you like.
Exactly. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining me at Let's Talk Live. And I can't wait to bring you a guest tomorrow. We have John Ruggiero, which James knows really well,
That's
hairstylist
him.
that we have worked with, and he's going to share some things that he's been working on. And I don't know if you know this, James, that he's actually doing interior design in Palm Springs, doing beautiful,
Yes.
amazing work. So we're going to get a
Yes.
house tour. So I'm really excited about that. With that note, thank you, everyone, and please stay healthy and stay safe out there. And if you have any questions at all, please DM James. Because he will be able to help you answer those questions. And at the same time, please follow him. And we will have this on YouTube soon, about a week time after editing. And you can watch this on Instagram Live for the next 24 hours. So until we meet again, thank you, James. I'm
Love
looking
you,
forward to
Tsai.
work with you again. Stay healthy out there, everyone.